Good morning, everyone. It's Libby from Meister Tarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, and I'd love to welcome you, my guides, your guides, and the universal energy along with us this morning. Very powerful humming around this morning. Had the most beautiful meditation session with my guides this morning of floating on a completely flat and calm and empty ocean. And just absorbing the source energy coming towards me. So it was absolutely fabulous. What I wanted to do is have a quick look. As I mentioned, I was going to have a look at the future of OPEC post-oil. I was actually surprised when I was doing some research on this how many countries are actually in OPEC, because we tend to think sort of Kuwait, Iran, Iraq and Saudi Arabia, but OPEC actually includes Algeria, Angola, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Venezuela. So there are a lot of countries involved. I was surprised Russia wasn't actually in the OPEC, but it may be a fringe player. Not at the moment, but in the past it's been a fringe player. So I just want to have a quick look at the future of these countries, because they are very reliant on, especially the countries like Equatorial Guinea, Congo and Gabon, on their fossil fuel resources. I just want to see how they're going. I do believe Saudi Arabia and UAE are pivoting quite dramatically towards, got a card flipped over there. Oh, there's my Russian card was flipped over for some reason. Are pivoting quite heavily. They have a lot of desert area that's not suitable for growing crops at all. Pivoting to renewable. They're setting themselves up as renewable energy exporters of the future, so they are moving away. However, they have recently announced that they're reducing production output to drive prices up, and I can tell you that now that's purely so they can make hay while the sun shines. That's purely what it is, to drive prices up so that they can make as much money as they can while they're going through this process. What's popped out is the Wheel of Fortune, which is very much about changing times, closing of one door and opening another, of moving of the energies from one position to another. Just the Wheel of Fortune is turning. Times are changing. So let's just have a quick look at the OPEC countries post-oil production, because, okay, thank you, Master. He's just dumped on me now, before he whips it away, because he has a tendency to do that, is what he has said is that it's going to come a lot quicker than what is anticipated. Thank you. So once this renewables hit a tipping point, it's bang, it's going to happen. A point of interest is in the US. The Department of Defense just released their newest Abrams tank. The Abrams is considered the king of the tanks, and it is a hybrid tank. They've also released their new in-field operationals vehicles that's in development at the moment, I think with General Motors, and they are electric versions of Humvees. They're like a utility vehicle. I'm not sure what they call them in the US. We call them utes, with the tray on the back, but so that bits can be added on, but they are electric vehicles. Now, before anyone goes, oh, but when they run out of power, well, I'm sure there's a lot bigger chance of finding a power point in a lot of these zones that they'll be operating in than there is of finding a fuel station. It does mean that they may not have to rely on fuel supplies they will be able to draw on power wherever they happen to be. Okay, so let's have a look at but yeah, I got tipping point, and it's just going to be shoot for the stars. Yeah, it is this time. Okay, so when I'm thinking about the OPEC countries, they're going to have a long, hard look at their path forward, is what I'm getting, and some are doing that already, investigating their path forward. I just really hope that those of us that have been relying on the countries that are not so well off, that they will be brought along on the journey. Okay, tell me about the future. At the moment, they're just making the money. They're making the money while the hay shines, so that they can use it to transition through this archway intergenerational. It's intergenerational money. So they're using the money now, and they're making as much as they can so they can use that money to invest in the future. Okay, thank you, Master. Tell me about the OPEC countries going forward. The OPEC countries going forward. I'll ask about it's two-tiered, so I'll ask about the wealthier OPEC countries first, and then I'll ask about the less wealthy, less well-positioned, which, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Congo, Angola, Algeria. Okay, but tell me about, so what am I looking at? UAE, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudis, renewables. They're transitioning towards, under calm and steady guidance, they are transitioning to renewables. I don't know that I need to read any further on those particular countries. Okay, so yes, they are transitioning. They have, under a calm diplomatic process, administrations, I may not agree with their administrations, but they are transitioning to setting themselves up for renewables. Okay, so it's what those cards have all said so far, but let's have a look at the not so well off countries. I'm sure these countries believe themselves as well off, however they are quite reliant on the income that comes in from these fossil fuels. So tell me about how will the not first tier, how will the second and third tier countries fare, the third tier countries fare under the transition from fossils? How will the third tier countries fare under the transition from fossils? Okay. Well, I didn't really like that card that popped out. Let's see. Let's read it how it fell. So we have this card. It is basically betrayal and sabotage on the battlefield, others just walking away. You've got this figure here gathering up all the truths, all the wisdom, and just taking it. So I don't particularly like that card as being the first card. Yeah, there is a risk of a vacuum being formed in the rule of these countries. We do have the giving and receiving of help, but it's going to be penny pinching is what I'm getting for these countries, and disappointment. So that's what fell out, but I will do a extended Celtic cross for them. At the base we have going to have to take a really hard look at their financial situation, their finances going forward. Oh, this is quite interesting because it's major arcana after major arcana coming forward on the base of the pack. So they're going to have a really hard look at their path forward. They'll be stepping out with hope and faith, but just be careful you don't step off the cliff there. There is strength, and we have the Hanged Man. So things are being seen from their strength will be in seeing things from a different point of view. So just tell me how these third tier fossil producing countries will fare in the future, because what's going to happen, I think a lot of, I haven't investigated, I'm just getting the feeling that a lot of their, these two fell out threw out at me again. They're going to have a long, hard look at their path forward. They have this courage and faith, but be careful they don't step off the cliff. But they're going to have to, same three cards, you're seeing me shuffle, same three cards. But they are going to have to look at things differently, about how things are differently done in their countries. But tell me, I'll do a full Celtic, please. Just give me a full Celtic for these countries. A full Celtic for these third tier countries. They're the ones I worry about. The Dubais and the Saudis and the UAEs I'm not terribly worried about. But these third tier countries, how are they going to fare going forward post fossil fuels, post oil? Right, getting a couple of cards sticking that don't want to go back in. Okay. So they're going to find themselves just in this position where they can remove the blindfold, the ropes are loosely tied. At the moment they're held hostage to the fossil fuels. But we do have, I'm actually quite pleased at these cards, but they do have this loading up of the truth and moving forward into a new, calmer waters, new beginning, and then we have this thinking big and working hard, and this youthful energy coming forward, bringing the Ace of Pentacles with it, and again another youth card, a youth of wisdom and intellect. And then we have the stability on the home front. There will be disappointment, but we have this feminine leadership coming forward. There will be, okay. So this is telling, these are the sort of cards I would normally get using my intuitive cards, but I'm just going to continue with this story and see where it leads us. So what we've got is, so we're getting a story out here, is that there is going to be this initial pain of being held hostage and hamstrung, but this youthful energy and this energy of stability of home is going to come forward. However, there will be loss and disappointment as these countries move away from fossils. However, what they do need to do, and I think they will do because this is what this card is there are two cups. If they turn around and don't look at what they lost, but look at what they still have, and then behind them there is these two cups still upright, there is this bridge over this river, and then there is this building of stability. So it is a case of not clinging to what is lost, but looking towards what they still have. There is something in this cup that is yet to be revealed, but it is also a calm, emotionally calm and stable feminine energy that's coming to the fore. But there is something in this cup that's not yet been revealed that will be deceitful. That will be deceitful, but it is very much about reaping what you sow, looking at what disappointment at the harvest, so looking at a different plan of how money can be brought into these countries, and they have the possibility to manifest amazing things, but they'll have to set up boundaries. Okay, thank you. What I'm getting is there will need to be boundaries set up so they are not taken advantage of. There will be a vacuum there for a while. They are going to find this period of defending themselves, but we've got this new beginning of truth and intellect coming forward, air energy. It is going to be burdensome. He's not carrying those sticks particularly well. Often you'll see on cards that the sticks are all lined up. But there is going to be a lot of information, a lot of messaging that's going to come forward, which is going to be a struggle as they're trying to get to this security on the pinnacle. So it is going to be a bit of a tumultuous time, but we do have the communities here. We have there is something going to come out of left field for them. There is offer going to be made, and they are going to move forward quickly. And then we have the victory card, and then the Star of Hope. What a fabulous card to finish on. It is going to be a juggle financially for them in the short term. It is, yeah, I'm just looking through the cards we've got. We do have this wish fulfillment, but also the smug merchant, emotionally smug merchant. So these are the wealthy oil companies in there at the moment. We have the Queen of Pentacles, which is about domestic practicality. There is so this is domestic security at the moment. This is the energies here and now. Financially juggling. They're really going to have to. They are on a tightrope, because you've got these oil companies that are currently providing domestic security, but they are going to withdraw. It is going to be a new start, and it is going to be a bash over the head new start when it happens, because I don't know that they're fully prepared. However, we do have this new horizon, which is about authentic reform for these countries under feminine inspirational leadership. New start. And I shuffled and shuffled and shuffled, and we've got these cards coming out in a different order. They are going to have to look carefully at the path that they take. They are going to have to see things from a different point of view. It is going to be the downfall of their position at the moment. And have to be aware of this power vacuum that's coming in. Got giving and receiving help, governments passing through intergenerational money. So, yeah, it's not going to be an easy transition for those countries on the, if I call them third tier. So I would consider the UAE and Saudis as first tier countries in regards to fossil fuels, with Venezuela, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait being the next level down. But then we have the poorer countries that are really at the moment being taken advantage of by the bigger boys in camp. So it is going to be a difficult transition for them. So the big boys in camp, yes, they're going to transition easily, not a problem, they're all over it. As a world, as a community, we have to be aware of these lower, lesser, don't like that term, it's not the right term, of these countries that are more reliant on the fossils, and they may very well be caught out. So just be aware of that. Okay, any questions, pop them below. Yeah, we're going to have to, as a world global community, help these countries to transition over, to find their new place in the world. So do what you can. That's all you can do. Love to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.